Hi everyone, it's Natalie here. Welcome. I'm hanging out here during quarantine. St. Louis and I think most of Missouri have now been given a shelter-in-place order, and I think the state of Illinois has also, or they may be calling it a lockdown. I'm not entirely sure, but basically, yeah, we're I think seeing all over that governors are following suit and asking people to shelter in place to prevent further spread of the COVID. So, so yeah, we're making the most of it here. We've got enough food and we've got enough money for a while and resources, and we've still got our health right now. So, yeah, yeah. Um, So I just felt like I needed to come on and continue to show up, even if I'm showing up late. Because there's not, even though there's nowhere to go and nothing to do, so to speak, um, there still seems to be plenty. There still seems to be plenty going on. I don't think I've ever had so many people from past and different areas of my life reaching out on the phone or email, and yeah, it's kind of been a lot at moments. You're sort of doing your thing, and suddenly the phone rings, and it's somebody you haven't heard from in a long, long time, or while you're on the phone with the person that one of your best friends wants to video chat, and it's yeah. So it's interesting how that kind of the outward chaos can also follow us in. Um, yeah. So there we go. So today I have the same 3 decks that I used last week. I considered finding different ones, and it just was not what I was feeling. So we're going to come back to the Luminous Void again. We're also going to come back to Wisdom of the Buddha Mindfulness deck and the Buddha Wisdom Divine Masculine deck. So we'll be working with these, and I did contemplate changing up the reading a little bit today, and then just decided, nope, I need to stick with it exactly as it's scripted. You will find in the description box below that there's a couple of additional resources that I threw in. So last week I had included the video from Lama Tsultrim. It's her Facebook page, and I will include that again here in the description box. That's for her video about feeding your demons. So if you have any anxiety or anything really heavy that's coming up around the quarantine, or around the disease itself, or fears around what's happening in society and with the economy, it's a really beautiful practice. Extremely helpful for just re-empowering and feeling better. I highly recommend it. It's a beautiful practice that I've done for quite a while now. And today we were introduced by one of her other Dharma holders. Her name is Lopun Chandra, and she's gorgeous. They all are. They're all completely stunning. And she posted a video, or she did a Facebook Live, but I think it's still posted on the Facebook page. A practice around the 20th Tara. And the 20th Tara is devoted to action around illness, disease, epidemics, and fear. All Taras deal with fear on some level, but the 20th Tara in particular is excellent for that. So we learned the mantra today. It is a practice anyone can do. So I'm going to post the link to that as well. Because if you're hoping to find a way of dispelling the disease or healing someone who's sick, this particular Tara is devoted to that. And the Taras are amazing beings. I believe they're all sort of emanations of the same energy, but essentially there are kind of 21 of them in a mandala setting, and the 20th is the one who is accessible to everyone at all times around healing illness and disease, and actually going to the source of the epidemic itself. Like, so it would be going in and dispersing the energy of that virus and killing it, in effect, I think. So, yeah, very comforting and beautiful practice. So I will have that in the link below as well. I'm just kind of putting out there anything that I found to be useful or helpful, because you just never know. There may be someone who may find it helpful. So, yeah. Okay, so I've got my cup of tea, and I've got, my altar back there, which has never been so active since I moved in here. It has never been so active as it has in the last few days. So let's go ahead and get this set up. So we've got our beautiful Luminous Void Tarot deck, which I'm a big fan of. And here is our beautiful Fool. There she is. So I am electing her as our significator for the purposes of the spread. And in she will go to the deck. And let's go ahead and do that. Woo. This never ceases to be one of those decks that's awkward to shuffle. Okay. But it's such a wonderful deck. I can't fault it. So let me see. Let's see. Let's try this. Okay, that made it a little bit easier. Wow, those were pretty neat little pull apart. They kind of knew where they wanted to go, didn't they? Wow. Okay. Again, by default, the Luminous Void Tarot is always a slow tarot. I have a feeling we're going to be right back in the Pentacles pile this week. Oh no, interesting. Okay, we're in the fives, or we're in the V. What am I saying? 5. It's a V. So we're in the swords this week. Wow. Fascinating. All right. So, well, what that means, we haven't been there for a while. So this pertains obviously to any issues that are around swords. So the mind, anything to do with the mind, the way we're thinking, beliefs, ideas, thought patterns, anxieties, mental health. This particular pile sometimes is also related to our role in the greater world. So it can also relate to, how we function as a leader, or in a leadership role. So, a lot of us, I think, are leaders in certain aspects of our own households or communities. That makes a lot of sense. But, this is the way in which we manifest ourselves in the world. It would also say, it would also tell us a little bit about the sources of conflict that we may encounter with over the course of the week or the week to come. And anything that we find coming up in the reading today is, any problems we come into contact with this week will be best addressed through thinking. Yeah, it sounds as though I should have something coming out beyond that, but through thinking. You can tell I've not been talking a lot because every time I open my mouth, it's very awkward. All right, so just a lot of isolation. Okay. Okay, so we've got our Fool here, which is a planetary card. So we're going to count counterclockwise because our Fool is facing counterclockwise or to the left. So 1, 2, 3. So, our first card is the Magus this week. So Magician is planetary 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. So the next card is the Tower. And, let's just call that one out. I think no one's going to be shocked by that. I'm not shocked by that. Okay, let's see. This was also planetary, of course. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. The star. I knew that star was going to come out at some point here. So the star. Okay. That's zodiac. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Wow. 3 cards this week. That's very interesting and rather significant. Let me double check my counting and I'll be right back. Yeah, it's correct. We have 3 cards this week. So interesting. Well, I don't think these are going to be very hard to interpret, really, at all. We've got these 3. Let's go ahead and draw the other 2 cards for some insight into these. So first, let's pull a Buddha Wisdom card. And I usually, there we go. I usually just shuffle the oracle cards until one comes out. Wow. Okay, so our card is surrender your judgments, see beyond the end and the beginning. Not insignificant. Not insignificant. Oops. Physical world, cooperate with me. Here we go. Okay. And we have also the Wisdom of the Buddha Mindfulness deck. I have such a nice shuffle. Don't know if you caught that. Let me try it this way. Yeah, they're just so lovely. I edged them in this turquoise color. Okay, so similarly, I tend to just shuffle these until they jump. Ooh, okay, wow. All right, so this one is very similar. Beautiful picture, beautiful image here. So this is supposed to be a, I think a male embodied Buddha, but holding a lotus. Doesn't say much about this particular Buddha, but the message, interestingly, is life in this moment. The past is already gone. The future is not yet here. Which is so interesting in surrender your judgments, see beyond the end and the beginning. Okay, so I came around to this direction because I felt like, you know, there's only 3 cards and it's easy enough for me to show that. And sometimes the face-to-face interaction can be so nice and comforting, and there's no need to flip the camera around this time, really. So it's interesting because I had a sense of like, I wonder if there's even any point in doing, you know, a spiritual guidance this week, because it seems to me as though everything in the world is pretty clear. You know, what's happening seems to me to be pretty clear. It's just a matter of like, what do we do to get through it? And I'm not at all surprised by any of the cards that we have, nor am I surprised by the oracle cards and advice. This is in harmony with. It's not a surprise. It's in harmony with what's been coming through my meditation time, and any quiet time that I'm spending, which is a lot at the moment. So yeah, this is a Loch Ness Monster t-shirt or sweatshirt, by the way. Just thought that was fun. Yeah, like I said, rocking the quarantine gear here. Every sweatshirt has come out to be worn for this week. So let's talk about what we have here. So we're starting this week with the Magus, or with the Magician. And I feel like this is, you know, when we look at like, what's the greater message here that's coming from spirit, from the highest part of who we are, that wants to communicate and so forth. It's interesting. I don't feel like there's no real way for us to be reassured, because this is not a moment where reassurance is really that available to us, right? And yet there is some reassurance, I feel like, in the form of the star. Yeah, I don't know what I'm trying to say. That came out kind of funny. I'm not going to cut it, because why? There's no point in not, you know, there's no real reassurance here, aside from the fact that after, you know, we are going to be facing a lot of watching things dissolve this week. We're going to see a lot of things restructured, you know, as the week goes on. And, you know, I think it's interesting that we've been given the Tower and the Star together, because that's the order of things. This is just the natural order of things, and this is the place that we're in right now. I feel like we're being given the star not because we can expect that to happen this week, but because this is the eventual outcome, right? So to remember, you know, going into the week, we do have power. You know, we have power to influence others. We have power over our own thoughts, over our own personal conduct, our own way of viewing the world, of seeing the world, and of taking ownership over our own minds, which is so important at a moment like this. It's so important. What do you need to do right now to calm your body, to calm your nervous system? and just allow things to be reprioritized in the way that needs to happen right now, because that is what's taking place, right? Everything in our lives is being restructured and reprioritized. And the more like aware, that eyeball there tells me about awareness, and looking deeply at things, examining things closely, observing, watching, and recognizing that as we're watching and as we're questioning and as we're wondering about what's happening, it's not falling on into nothingness. The abyss is looking back. Which is also what which is what the magician tells us too. That it's, as we look into the abyss is looking back at us, right back at us. And again, we've got that. This happened last week too, right? With the magician and the that sort of rainbow archiness happening here and being reflected back here. I think it's interesting that these two cards came back. I feel like there's a reason I was asked to use this deck again this week. It's so interesting that these two are so prominent yet again. Holding space for holding space for your own mind, so that your own mind is clear. It is as clear as you can make it, is important. How can you deal with thoughts as they pop up, right? How can you address them? How can you cope with them, manage with them? This is the time where all of the tools that we've ever learned, that are about addressing our fears, addressing our anxieties, our concerns, and the way we show up in the world, this is that moment. This is really that moment. And it may be that the best thing that we can do in terms of our contribution is simply, it so often is, right, is simply by watching our own mind space, finding ways to create peace, finding ways to create calm. Let's just talk about these two. So life in this moment. The past is already gone. The future is not yet here. And this one from the Dhammapada: surrender your judgments, see beyond the end and the beginning. And I feel like what that's saying is, if you weren't looking at things as a beginning or an ending, what would you see? What would you see there instead? And ultimately, you would probably see the present moment. They're sort of like answering each other. This is all sort of like, fundamental or like Dharma teaching, foundational Dharma teachings. I feel kind of inauthentic just saying that, because I'm making that sound like it's a very easy thing to do, and I know that it's not. This is the advice we're getting for this week. If that is something that is unattainable for you right now, and I have a friend who I used to sit with in seminary who is not able to access that right now at all. And we sat together for a couple of years, together, and she can't access it. So if that calm and that ease and that coming back to just what's happening here right now is not something that you're finding the ability to do, and hearing that you have a certain amount of power over, what's happening in your life, that yes, this is a tower moment for all of us, for all of society, for culture, the world, and that it will eventually settle and be okay. But that all right now you can do is to settle in the present moment and watch that unfold. If that is not enough, if that does not help you, and you are looking for further practices that will help you calm, that will help you relax, tell me about that. Because it may be possible for me to pull something together that's helpful or useful on that level. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't watched anyone else's readings this week. maybe that other people have other advice to give and that their guides are coming through with very different information. It's not surprising that my guides would come forward with this, which is just like, well, this is the situation. What more do you want? You know, so yeah, let me know what I can do. Let me know what I can do to be helpful. Otherwise, you know, always feel free to put in prayer requests if you have them. This is what I'm really spending a lot of my time doing. You know, I clean my house, I walk my dog, we cook, we eat, we sleep, we sometimes watch stuff or read books, and most of the rest of the time I'm just meditating, and or practicing, or doing something that's to do with practice on some level. So yeah, that's what I got. That's what I got. I'm really not spending as much time as I expected I would watching videos in the community. So there's that. It's nothing personal. I just don't feel drawn to that right at this moment. It feels more on point at this moment to be using the time to practice. It's rare to have this kind of quiet and stillness, where I'm not being pulled in a number of directions and I can concentrate and focus my mind like that. So, yeah. All right, folks. From my heart to yours, I wish all of you tremendous peace, and I wish you tremendous well-being and an ability to get through the coming times with as much calm as possible, and with all of your needs met, and with all of the resources that you need to do so. All right. See you next time. Bye.